Hey, my name is Lizzie Smiley, and I absolutely love helping people connect with their calling and all the tools they need to kick roadblocks and excuses right out the door so they can cultivate the life they dream about. If you want to launch, grow, pivot, or scale your Etsy shop, or you've always wanted to develop the mindset and skills to run your own business, then I'm your girl. I've had that entrepreneurial spirit going strong since my very first lemonade stand, and now I'm a work-at-home mama with multiple online companies and a full-time Etsy shop, all while being present with my kids for the everyday chaos and most important milestones. On this podcast, we'll talk about all things business, mindset, Etsy, creativity, dazzling our customers, and so much more. There's plenty of room at this table for you, so scooch on in and let's go. I'm holding nothing back. Welcome to How to Sell Your Stuff on Etsy. I'm so glad you're here. Hey, you guys, welcome back to the show this week. Are you ready for another high energy Gold City Ventures conversation about digital products? Because I am. I went for a walk before this episode so I could keep up with Cody. And I will tell you more about him in a minute in case you're new around here. But I hope you guys are just having the best week, that you're having a great Q4, that you're fired up about Etsy, you're figuring it out. If you're still sitting over there wondering if you just start, this is your nice little gentle hug, kick in the pants from Lizzie telling you to get going. Get going. You can't make any progress until you open up shop. A little bit of what's going on. Make sure that you are submitting, I dropped my notes, your FAQs for the episode that is coming up here soon. It'll be in another month or two, but I've got to start collecting them. So the link will be down in the show notes for you to submit your questions about Etsy, and I will answer them on the podcast episode. Also, do you know what is going so well is a few weeks ago now, I launched my weekly trend spotting and product opportunities email. So basically, when I interviewed you guys, surveyed you guys, my students in the Facebook group all over the place, all I hear over and over again is, I don't know what to design for. I don't know what to sell. I'm not sure how to follow the trends or figure it out. And I'm just like, oh, okay, fine. I will do that for you. No problem. So I created a service where every single week you get an email on Monday that is going to have a list of what is trending right now, including a video showing you like kind of the application of it. So you don't have to pie in the sky, figure it out. You're going to just have a little video showing you it. And then I have 5 product opportunities in the print on demand and digital product spaces that are listed there. Like here's what the product is. When it's applicable, I give you the suggested keywords like that have the best opportunity. And then there is a little video showing you how I established that this is a good opportunity and giving you a sense of like how to apply it. So that has been going so well. If you still want to get on, I have not raised the price yet. We are currently at $37 a month. And when I do raise the price coming up soon, you will be grandfathered in at the lower price for as long as you stay with me in that membership. So super excited about it. A lot of you are already taking advantage of it, and it's been really fun. I'm even learning more every single week. So good stuff there. And then finally, next week is when the ultra beginner coaching calls are taking place. So if you are someone who is feeling overwhelmed by the technology, whether it's like Canva related, Etsy related, there's just things that you are not sure, and it's holding you back, either starting an Etsy shop or it's holding you back growing it, or you are not making any sales and you know it's because of these things that you need to figure out. You want to be on one of these calls. There's going to be one on Wednesday that's going to be midday, and there's one on Thursday that's going to be early evening. And you can join me for that. And there is just no dumb question. I was so tech challenged, you guys. You have no idea. I was so embarrassed by what I didn't know. And people would talk about things and I'd be like, I have no idea what you're even referencing. Like, what does that mean? Things like I just couldn't figure out how to like export something out of Canva to save properly in a folder. I didn't know where to save it. All of these things I'm going to take care of for you in these ultra beginner coaching calls. They will be linked down in the show notes, and you can pick which one works for you. The group is still quite small, so you're not going to be overwhelmed with a ton of people. It's just going to be you and a couple of other ultra beginners, and I'm going to take care of you. And I'll have some things prepared too that I think will be really helpful. So see you there. And other than that, let me tell you about Cody, our guest today, Cody Berman. He has been on the podcast a few times before. We always have a great time. We always talk the absolute fastest. I have this little stray hair that's kind of bugging me. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the visuals. But let me tell you about Cody. Cody Berman is a digital nomad who quit his corporate job to pursue entrepreneurship full time. He started selling digital products in 2018 and became hooked after earning $700 plus in 1 week. He also hosts the Financial Independence Show, another podcast. In his spare time, you might find him traveling, working out, or building another business. Relatable. Cody loves selling seasonal products. He earns over 6 figures in passive income, quit corporate America in 2019, and reached financial independence by age 25. So buckle up. We're going to talk about all things digital products, how he finds opportunities, what's kind of going on right now, some of the success stories from his students, faceless side hustle details, so many things. And then, of course, we've veered off into 17 different directions because that's what happens when you talk to me. Let's welcome Cody to the podcast. Cody, hey, welcome back to the podcast, my friend.
Lizzie, this was my highlight of the week. I'm so excited for today's conversation.
Whatever.
You think I'm kidding, but we have such a good time. If you haven't seen Lizzie and my old podcast together, every single one is just a banger. They're so good. We have so much fun. It's great.
I do feel like the mutual high energy does us some favors, Cody. But that you know why you caught me off guard is because you don't blow smoke. You're like you're not that guy. So okay, super excited. I think we've got a great list of topics to talk about today. Lots of new people around here, Cody. So unlike where we kind of usually jump in a little further, I would really love for you to tell everybody your backstory, even talk about the FIRE movement, which people are going to be like, what's that? Are we setting fire to things? Give us like where you came from, how Gold City Ventures came to be, and what you're doing now. Please, all of it. And I will pull out details.
Okay, I'm going to say that's a lot. I'll start at the beginning. You can stop me wherever. So
no, monologue.
I'm Cody Berman, co-founder of Gold City Ventures. But where I started, I was a side hustle guy. I always wanted to make money outside of the 9-to-5. I was part of this movement called the FIRE movement, which is financial independence, retire early. A bunch of these wacky people who are trying to retire in their 20s and their 30s and their 40s way earlier than typical retirement age. And a lot of them do that through creative finance stuff. So side hustling, investing, all these weird things that the typical person doesn't do. So I was obsessed with side hustles, but most of the side hustles, I was trading my time for money. Lizzie, I'll have to share this picture with you. I just found it recently. I was delivering Uber Eats on a bicycle, and it's this pink bike that none of the gears worked. So it was only in 4th gear. It was in this really hilly area I was living in at the time. And I had a couple 1-star reviews from my Uber Eats experience because I was sweating on people's food. So like, this is just my side hustle past. So like, none of the side hustles I was doing up to this point were very passive at all. I was very actively trading my time for money. It wasn't until what we're going to be talking about today, printables and digital products, where I was like, okay, I'm genuinely making money while I sleep. Like, there was days where I'd wake up and I'd have sales on my phone. And it was amazing. It was like the best feeling ever. It was something I'd worked on weeks or months ago. I started making sales on my phone. It did not start too hot, wasn't too flashy. I honestly was pretty terrible when I first started. So our friend, my business partner, Julie, was the one who introduced me to printables and digital products. And we were both in this FIRE movement space together. We were both actually podcasters at the time. And she was like, hey, I found this side hustle. It's called selling printables on Etsy. I'm like, well, I've never been on Etsy before. I don't know what a printable is, but let's hear it. So she kind of pitched me on the side hustle. She was like, I spent 60 hours on it and I've made $5,000 so far. I'm doing the mental math. I'm like, that's way higher return than I'm getting on my time right now. I'm making $10 an hour, sweating on people's food, riding a bike around, delivering pizzas. So, so I gave it a whirl. And honestly, the first couple months were crickets. And just for people who are like, all right, I'm kind of following along, but I don't know what printables are. A printable is basically a digital file that you're selling to someone else. So you can go and create a digital file on a platform like Canva. Some people might be or might not be familiar with that platform. It's free, has a pro version as well. Beside the point. You can create a printable, a digital file on Canva. You go and upload that to a digital marketplace like Etsy, for example. Etsy then automatically delivers that file to the buyer when they purchase your thing. So like I said, super passive. All you have to do is create the thing, you list it, and then when you make sales, there's not really any additional effort on your part. Unlike physical products where when someone puts in an order, and we don't have to get into this today, but I used to be a physical product seller, and man, was that a nightmare. Managing inventory, shipping, packaging, customer complaints, it was terrible. Back to digital products. So the first couple months of me creating and selling digital products, it was crickets. I was just creating random stuff on a whim. I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't really have any graphic design experience. A couple things were selling here and there, which I honestly think is what kept me going, like making $4 here, $8 there. It pushed me forward, but it wasn't any sizable amount of side hustle income. It wasn't until, I love telling this story, it was the February after I started selling printables. So I started selling in October, November. It wasn't until February where I had my big break. And I was on a ski trip with my then girlfriend, now wife, Lauren. And we were in Lake Tahoe. Didn't even have my laptop, wasn't working in my Etsy shop that entire week, but it was over my birthday week. I'm a Valentine baby. So I had created a bunch of Valentine's Day printables in December and January and early February, listed them in my shop. None of them were really selling much, but come Valentine week, a couple of them just went gangbusters. And I ended up making over $718 in that first week passively while I wasn't working on my shop. And honestly, that's the moment I kind of attribute all my digital product success to. That's the moment where I'm like, okay, I've got something here. Let me double down.
The way you go and then you're like, and that's it. Okay.
I was giving you I'm looking at the time. I'm like, I've been talking for 4 minutes straight and not breathing. So if Lizzie has any clarifying questions, let's talk about them now.
Well, I'm glad you're taking a breath. That's great. Also, I'm going to have to ask you for that picture to include when this episode
I definitely
airs.
Will send it over.
That is happening. I'm cracking up. Okay. So you and Julie go hard on this. Obviously, you had success in your own printable shop, which gave you a lot of experience, gave you additional income, but it spun off into more. Now you and Julie are helping a lot of other people to create side hustles where they're selling these printable digital products on Etsy. What I think is so interesting and different about you guys, and I love it all. That's why I wanted to start the podcast with all these different stories. I love the big flashy stories. I love the exciting numbers and the idea that you could become a millionaire selling on Etsy or online at all. But the FIRE movement, and you guys come more from this attitude, not that you don't want to be a millionaire, Cody, and I'm absolutely kind of praying that over you. But the idea that you could stack smaller amounts of successes on top of each other. So, a lot of people who come to you, their goal is, I want to be able to take a family vacation every year. I need to make maybe an extra $500,000 a month that I can sock away. Or they're like, I want to use this to help pay off debt. I think that is so cool. But tell us about Gold City Ventures and kind of like the mission of it and how you help people.
Yeah. So before Gold City Ventures, I just want to break down some math for people because I don't think people realize when you break things down into micro goals, how much easier things are to achieve. So let's use a family vacation, for example. You could go on a real nice family vacation for $12,000. That might seem like a crazy budget for some people. It might seem low for other people, but let's just use that as a benchmark. It's $1,000 per month. $1,000 per month breaks down to $33 per day. $33 per day is $5-6 products. It's 4 $8 products. It's 3 $11 products. Like when you break things down into those micro goals, it seems so much more attainable. And it took me so long to realize that. I used to want to shoot for these astronomical goals. I'm like, I want to make $10,000 with my Etsy shop. It's like, well, slow down, Cody. How about you make $6 first? Then you figure out how many visits it takes for you to get that $6. And then you can kind of extrapolate out the numbers from there. So I just want to put that caveat there for those who are feeling discouraged or encouraged, but maybe too encouraged and you're shooting for the moon and then you get discouraged because you don't hit this astronomical goal that you set for yourself. Okay, rewinding. And we're going to talk about some student success stories in a bit. But talking about Gold City Ventures. Okay, Gold City Ventures.
Yeah, no, I have another idea, but to answer that first, to keep going.
Okay. I'll quickly say what Gold City Ventures is, and then we can get into the awesome idea that you just came up with, Lizzie. So Gold City Ventures came about because naturally, if you're having success with any side hustle, with anything, so let's say you went on some new diet and all of a sudden you lose 50 pounds and you're looking awesome, people are going to naturally ask you, how did you do that? Like, can you tell me the secrets? What are you eating? What are the workouts you're doing? Same thing with this side hustle. Once Julie and I started having success, people are like, that sounds really cool. Like, can you tell me how you're doing that? How are you making passive income? How are you making thousands of dollars per month with these digital products? And so Julie actually started a mastermind. She started doing some one-on-one coaching. I kind of joined up with her and we're like, this doesn't really make sense to do coaching in a one-on-one capacity. Like we're very limited in how many people we can help doing it that way. So we pooled all our knowledge together and ended up creating the first iteration of the ePrintables course. This course is basically the A to Z of everything that both of us had learned from selling on Etsy, from our mistakes to things we did right, to things we wish we knew before we started, from ideating to creating to marketing to multiplying your revenue once you start to see some success. So that was the first iteration back in mid 2019. I think it was June 2019 we first launched. And now over 5 years later, we've just continued to iterate, continue to make it better. We now have over 20,000 students who have gone through the course. And it has been amazing to see the success that they've been able to have and how many people we've been able to help. And like you said, even if it's a vacation, even if it's covering the grocery money, knowing that we played a part in that and that we taught them a skill that they can now take with them for the rest of their life to continue to earn side hustle income outside of their day job, it is beyond rewarding.
That's extremely fulfilling. 20,000 is an amazing accomplishment, Cody. And the great thing about what you guys have chosen, and I understand why you just continue to stay in your lane and iterate. There's not the demand for people wanting to learn how to sell printables on Etsy isn't going to go anywhere anytime soon. Have you played with Creative Market at all? Or do you just stay in Etsy?
As a seller, no. I have purchased things on Creative Market, but and we can get into this too. The reason I like Etsy so much is that you don't need an audience. So unlike Shopify or selling on your own website, or there's a lot of other platforms out there to sell, but with Etsy, there's 100 million buyers on the platform. If you can understand and learn keyword research and SEO, and you can create the products that people are typing into the search bar, Etsy is going to deliver those customers to your doorstep, regardless of how many followers you have on Instagram or how many YouTube subscribers you have or how big your email list is. None of that matters. You can start as a newbie. You can start fresh on Etsy. And if you get a good understanding of keyword research and SEO, you can make money. So that's why I like Etsy so much other than some of these other platforms where sometimes you have to drum up some of your own traffic.
I didn't actually appreciate that about Creative Market, that you're really having to send your own traffic there. That's a really interesting tidbit. Thank you for telling me that. So when my eyes got big earlier and you're like, should I stop talking? Because you clearly are thinking something. I wanted to ask you about mindset. And I'm kind of wondering if you just like came out of the womb this way, Cody, and that's fine. But I'm sure you have confronted students who didn't, and maybe you speak to it. When you talk about someone coming into this space and starting small and like, okay, well, what if you can make $6? What do you say to people who are just like, you know what? I am so limited on time. I have tried, and I know you know this, I have tried so many different things that have not worked. And frankly, I'm at the end of my rope of like waiting and seeing. I mean, I guess, and feel free to be really abrupt with me about this, Cody, if that's how you would be. But like, what do you say to people who think that way? Because I think sometimes when you only hear the smaller numbers, that's what goes through people's mind. It's like, why would I do all of this work for only, $500 to $1,000 a month? Other people are like, oh my gosh, that's life-changing. But what would you say to someone who'd be like cynical about that?
Couple thoughts on this. I think that even if you can make $5 online by yourself outside of your employer, it just completely changes your worldview on how money works. Like, most people have never experienced making money outside of a paycheck. Most people think, I make $20 per hour. I make $25 per hour. I make $50 per hour. And unless they trade that hour, they don't get paid. This is maybe the first time that you're ever going to experience you creating something. And even if it is just $5, it is disassociated. Like, your time and your money are not linearly related in this circumstance. So I think even just that in itself is an unlock. Like, even if you don't want to sell printables on Etsy or digital products forever, just getting that unlock will unlock new opportunities for you down the road. I also think that this is just like a microcosm of business. Like, if you can understand how to look for digital products that are successful, create digital products that are successful, market, you don't have to just stay within the digital product silo. Like, this can translate to anything. You could learn these same skills and go and run a pizza shop. Like, there's so many of these skills that translate into other facets, into other disciplines of business. And we try to tell people that all the time. Like, well, I don't want to sell digital products forever. It's like, well, that's fine, but you can at least use this to, one, bankroll your next venture. Like, let's say you want to do something else that does cost money. Let's say you do want to run a pizza shop. Like, once you go through and you create your Etsy shop and you start to learn keyword research and you start to learn what customers like and you start to like break down data, you're going to be able to use that in any venture, including a pizza shop. And you're going to be able to like bundle offers. You're like, you can get the pepperoni cheese stick combo, and like, this thing's converting at this percentage versus this other offer that I have here. Like, it's all the same. Business boils down to the same principles, no matter what you're selling, no matter what you're doing. So I think that, back to your original question, like, it's whether it's $5 here, it's $50, it's $500, whatever that number might be. Like, there are so many meta skills that you'll learn, even if this isn't the be all end all for you. So I know I just went on a little tangent there, but I think it's so important to think about.
It's a requirement to go on tangents when you come on the show. Okay, so a few weeks ago, I had the coolest conversation with an Etsy seller. For those listening, I'll link the actual number of the episode below, but it was with Marina. And Marina only started her Etsy shop last year, so less than 24 months old. It is all digital printables, and she's making between $7,000 and $8,000 a month regularly. So all of that to say, new shops are doing just as well as old shops. There's so much potential still there. And I was wondering if you wanted to talk about your recent project as well in that vein.
Yes. Yes. So someone fueled the fire. I've now been selling digital products for 6+ years. And naturally, there's going to be the haters that come on and say, well, you just got lucky. You started early. Like, there's no way you could do that now. I think the actual comment was, LOL, Etsy is so saturated now, you could never repeat your success. I'm like,
Oh,
challenge accepted. So I started
did
a
you say
brand new
that?
Etsy shop. Started a brand new Etsy shop. Didn't tell anyone about it. I don't link to it on any of my socials. I don't promote it via email. Nowhere. Like it's literally just organic keyword research SEO. I started a new Pinterest account for the shop as well. But I started that shop about 40 days ago from when we're recording this. In the first month, I did $185 in revenue. And now so we're in like week 1 of month 2. I'm pacing over $100 for this week. So hopefully I can reach like $400 or $500 month 2 in revenue. And like I was saying before, that might not sound like an astronomical number. You're like, well, $185 in a
Just
month? Like,
started.
why would I bother? Exactly. And here's the cool thing though. With Printables, with digital products, I like to think of each one of them as a little passive income machine. So let's say I sell something in month 1. There's no reason why that same thing isn't going to sell in month 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like once you get a couple products that are selling, you gain a lot of momentum. And if you have all these little mini passive income machines in your shop, even if one might be making $50 a month, another one might be making $30 a month, one might be making $100 a month, you stack enough of them together and you get to $1,000 a month and beyond pretty quick. And so that's the goal of this challenge. I'm seeing how fast I can get this new Etsy shop to $1,000 per month in revenue. I think based on my current pacing and how quickly I'm adding products and just the results I'm seeing, I think I'm going to be able to do it in under 3 months. And then after that, it's going to be coasting. Like I don't see any reason why once I hit the $1,000 per month in say month 3, month 4, 5, 6, 7 are probably all going to be $1,000 per month or more if I continue to work on the shop, make things better, tweak things, look at my Etsy stats and adjust accordingly. So I'm really excited. I'm so happy with how this challenge is going because I was like, come on, Cody, you still got it, right? Like, I haven't been fresh in 6+ years, but I still got it. I'm still creating products that people are wanting to buy. It's awesome.
Are you a print on demand or digital product Etsy seller who's tight on time or still learning all of the Etsy secrets? I totally remember the days of having no idea what product to create next before I learned how to make those informed decisions so I can really identify with where you're at. I know how stressful and frustrating it can be to just create listing after listing and see little to no results. You wonder what you're doing wrong and you just want someone to tell you what to create that's actually going to sell. Where are those opportunities? So let me give you a leg up with my weekly trends and opportunities report. You just join my membership, and every Monday, I'm going to send you an email with a list of exactly what is trending right now with a video tutorial showing you how I found those trends and how to apply them in your shop. We're taking guesswork and extensive time off of your table. I'm also going to send you 5 print-on-demand and digital product opportunities that are growing in demand right now, helping new shops make sales and still have very low saturation in the marketplace. So your tight schedule, your newbie status doesn't have to hold you back anymore. I'm going to help you earn while you learn. You can grab my free demo to start and see an example of what the weekly trends and opportunities email looks like right from the show notes. See what you're going to get, and I will see you on the inside soon. All of our skills that we gain are cumulative. So anytime that we skip from one project and we need to move into another for whatever reason, we feel like we're starting over, but we're really not. Well, you've just sharpened your axe. You're only going to do better, faster, more the next time. So amazing. Thank you for doing that, Cody. And I hope that that person and all of the others who wouldn't even say anything but were totally thinking it are hopefully encouraged by it. I saw something
one
on
of the
your
most
Instagram.
common complaints. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Let's talk
really?
about Instagram.
No, we're
One
going
of
to.
the most
Is
common
it really?
complaints is that Etsy is too saturated now. There's so many
Saturated.
people selling printables. And it's like, of course, there's a lot of people selling printables and the number's going up every year. The number of buyers is also going up astronomically every single year. Etsy is spending so much money getting buyers onto the platform. I don't know if you're a football fan, Lizzie, but they had a big Super Bowl ad. They spent millions of dollars on a Super Bowl ad last year to get buyers onto the platform for like gifts, which is great. So like for us Etsy sellers, it's the more that Etsy spends on marketing, and this is a whole debacle a couple of years ago when Etsy increased its percentage that it takes from 4.5 to 6. But I'm like, as a digital product seller, please take the 1.5% more and spend all that money on marketing, getting people onto the platform. Because as a digital product seller, let's say I'm selling something for $10, If they take 60 cents instead of 45 cents, like, please, if you have to take the extra 15 cents from me to get, you know, a million new buyers onto the platform that could potentially buy my stuff, I'm happy to make that trade-off. So I know I interrupted you with your question on Instagram, but I just want to tell that story and make that caveat.
Please always interrupt. You're always going to have something better to say. I also think that I like the advertising by Etsy, and I think we're still ripe for a lot of opportunity with digital products, because I think a lot of people think of Etsy as a handmade place to buy, and the market of people who are coming to it for digital products is growing. Like, I think that the population at large is just starting to realize this is the place to go when I need something digital too. So, but then on top of that, I've been doing a lot of trend research lately. This is kind of one of my new projects, is to create trend reports and to identify product opportunities. And I'm amazed at how many, I'm actually personally shocked at how many opportunities there are specifically in printables, Cody. Like, now that I'm getting into the weeds of it, I'm like, oh, I thought it was going to be hard. It is ripe. Yeah, so I'm completely in agreement with you. What I was going to ask about Instagram is because I was scrolling on your account the other day, and there was a reel talking about faceless side hustles, which is such an interesting topic generally. Earlier at the beginning of this year, I was playing around, like, studying the MMR. Is that right? Yeah, MMR.
Master resale rights. Yeah.
You know what? That was such a mom thing to say, because that's like the vaccine, right? The MMR. MRR, master resale rights, all of PLR, all of that. And a lot of them were doing faceless side hustle channels to try to promote that. So I'm really curious what you guys are doing with faceless side hustles and what your thoughts are and what's happening.
I mean, my new Etsy shop is a perfect example of this. I'm not showing my face anywhere. I'm not promoting this. I'm not like building up a big Instagram to then sell these printables to people online. It's just the printables themselves getting promoted on Pinterest. And then the only other way that I'm getting traffic to my shop is via keywords and SEO on Etsy itself. So, like, it is completely faceless. It could be completely anonymous. You don't need your profile picture. You don't need to interact with anyone on the internet. Like, this is the perfect example of a faceless side hustle. Probably the best example too. Like, you literally don't need to be on any social media platforms for this to work.
I'm embarrassed that I never connected those dots. And also, you guys are brilliant for using that language because if that reel's going out beyond your
trending.
Audience. Yeah. Wow. Cody, this is what happens when people look at the data. Okay. So talk to me about finding opportunities in printables. What is your favorite way to go about that?
So with AI, I actually like to lean on ChatGPT or Bard or whatever you want to use for ideation. So I'll say something like, let's use personal finance as an example, because I come from the FIRE movement, the personal finance background. I'll say, give me 100, personal finance digital product ideas. Naturally, probably half of those are going to be just absolute garbage. Like, they're not going to be something that's going to be popular or something I'd create. The ones that are interesting to me, though, then I'll plug those into a more Etsy specific keyword research tool. I use eRank personally. I'm also a fan of Everbee. But then, so I'll plug, let's say, a budget planner in. That might be one of the ideas that ChatGPT spits out. I'll type in budget planner to eRank, and then it'll spit out all these different variations of budget planners. And eRank will actually tell me if there's different keyword variations of budget planner that might be more successful than others. So I might see, doing this data, like zero-based budget planner, like, wow, that's a really hot product. Tons of people are searching for it. There's not much competition. Oh, Dave Ramsey, well, that's a copyrighted one. You wouldn't use that, but that did come up because I recently looked this up. That's another thing. Don't do copyrighted stuff. I know people are like going gangbusters, selling Taylor Swift stuff on Etsy. Please don't do that because you can get shut down. Don't sell Harry Potter stuff. You can get shut down. But okay, I'm actually glad I said that because that was something I just recently saw when I was searching budget planners. But yeah, there's a lot of these, like when you type what I like to call a short tail keyword into one of these keyword research tools like eRank, like budget planner, and then it will spit out all the what's called long tail variations. And I have no idea who came up with that phrasing, short tail versus long tail, but all long tail means is that there's more adjectives describing what the thing is. So instead of a budget planner, it's like a zero-based budget planner. It's a financial budget planner. It's a spreadsheet or budget planner spreadsheet. Like, there's all these extra words describing what the product is. That's all that long tail keyword means. I know it's like a fancy, it sounds like jargon, and you're like, what is long tail versus keyword? Long tail versus short tail keywords? What does that mean? That's basically it in a nutshell. So that's kind of my process. I'll ideate a bunch of stuff using the help of my good old friend ChatGPT, and then I'll look at the product ideas that look interesting to me, and then I'll plug those product ideas into a keyword research tool like eRank. And then when I plug it into there, what I'm looking for is unicorns. And a unicorn is what I like to call something with pretty good search volume. So there's a lot of people searching for it and low competition. And a lot of these tools, it'll have like green, yellow, and red. I look for green in the search volume and I look for green in the competition. Green in the search volume means it's more searches. Green in competition means there's lower competition. So that's honestly it. Like some stuff flops, some stuff does really well, but that's kind of my process. Like it might seem rudimentary and people are like, that's it. But seriously, that's it. I mean, obviously I'm making sure that I'm also titling my product correctly, that my listing description is extensive and using the right keywords in the top of the description, and my tags are on point, and my listing image is really good. And a main listing image, especially, I'm spending 80+% of my time on that, making sure that it's better than the competitions and attracting people to click on that, because the listing image is the gatekeeper to making sales. Even if you have the best product ever, if you don't have a good listing image, no one's going to click on it. No one's going to buy your product. So that's kind of the full ideation to keyword research to creating the thing to listing it process for me.
I think that is extremely helpful. That whole process. So some people just look their brain unlocked, but you caught my attention with the phrase, "I make my listing image better than the competition." Talk to us more about that. Like, what do you look for? Like, what are some ways that you try to make it better and enhance it? Are there any tactics you use generally, or is that just it's a case by case basis?
It's a case by case basis for sure, but for example, some people might have an extremely overcrowded listing image. Like you just can't tell what the heck's going on. Like if someone's scrolling through fast on their phone, like, what is this? Like, what am I even buying? And some of those might even be bestsellers. So I'm like, if this is a bestseller, again, usually there's not too many competitors for the products that I'm selling because I'm trying to look for the unicorns, the stuff with low competition. So I'm like, if there's only 5 people selling this, and they all have these like overcrowded, ugly listing pictures, all I have to do is have a more clear, slightly better looking listing picture. Chances are a customer who types that thing into the search bar is going to click on mine, not theirs. What's another good example? So yeah, overcrowding is definitely one of them. Also, people getting cut off. So recently in some variations of search, and Etsy is always experimenting, but some variations of search, Etsy is going to display your listing image in a square. So I always make sure that like my listing image, when cropped to square, there's not a bunch of text cut out or like half my printable is missing from the listing image. And a lot of people make that mistake. I'll look at best sellers. I'll look at shops with tens of thousands of sales and scroll through. Like, again, it totally depends. Sometimes it's on mobile, sometimes on desktop. I know Etsy is like constantly experimenting, but sometimes when stuff's cropped to square, the listing image just looks bad. It looks squished. Like there's stuff that's cut out. So I always make sure that when I'm designing the listing image, that when cropped to square, it still looks good, even though I'm uploading as like a rectangle.
And like for digital products, how do people typically display that in a listing image in your experience? I don't think we've ever talked about that either. Like, you imagine it maybe feels a little ethereal. Like, how do I display this? Is a digital thing. How do I display this visually?
Again, depends on the product, but my number one piece of advice is just make it as clear as possible. I think a lot of people try to get fancy with it. They'll add like a bunch of animations and words and text. It's like if you're selling a gift tag, like a holiday gift tag, we have Halloween coming up, Christmas is right around the corner. I like just having a pretty plain background. That could be a white background, could be like the fake wood background, and just having like the gift tag nice and prominent right in the center with a little bit of a drop shadow to make it pop. Nothing fancy, just like very clearly what the listing image is.
Okay. Because I usually say, take a look at the best sellers because but like you say, these days, I feel like a lot of times the best sellers are not necessarily, like we could do better, believe it or not, than those really crowded images.
What I will say is that let's go back to the long tail versus short tail keywords. Like if you type in budget planner, there's going to be a ton of competition. That's a really short tail keyword. You're going to have some monster seller with 150,000 sales on Etsy. They might have a really good listing image. If you want to then take that listing image and kind of recreate it and put your own spin on it for a longer tail keyword, where maybe the people who are dominating that longer tail keyword, they don't have as good as listing images because they're not as an experienced of a seller, that could work. Like there are still a lot of great sellers with great listing images out there, but like I said, I like to go after some of these more hidden longer tail keywords. And a lot of times the competition does not have the best listing images. So I can take inspiration from like some of the bigger dogs for these shorter tail keywords and then bring those designs down to the longer tail. I know I'm using a lot of longer tail, shorter tail keywords here, but honestly, once you kind of get the idea in your head, like going after long tail keywords is a really great way to start making first sales and just understanding kind of how things work as well. Because I think a lot of people get discouraged because they will try to compete with everybody and their mother on these short tail keywords. And they're like, why aren't I making any sales? Like I just created an awesome budget planner. It's like, well, because there's 50,000 other people trying to sell just a regular old budget planner. There's way fewer people trying to sell, the zero-based budget planner or the budget planner spreadsheet or some other variation.
I think I used to be so overwhelmed by the Longtail, Shorttail keyword. I couldn't kind of get my brain around it. So I think actually your exposure therapy you're giving us right now is probably. So let's talk about these are connected. I want to move into talking about some of your student success stories, but I think first of all, because again, I think so much of our goal here in this episode is to help cast the vision that there's still opportunity, that new shops are still having success doing this. So what kinds of products and niches are doing well for your students right now? Like newer, you're seeing all the newer folks, like what's popping for them?
I wish I had a magic niche that was great for everyone. I like to say niche because I like to rhyme the riches are in the niches, but that's the only reason why I like to say it that way. But honestly, there's not one niche that's dominating. It's the people who find the kind of weird longer tail keywords within a side niche. Like there's people crushing it in personal finance. There's people crushing it in the wedding niche. There's people crushing it in wall art. There's people crushing it in the teacher's niche, the mom niche, the gift tag niche. Like there's people, I could name every single niche of people who are just killing it in our course. People in the Bible niche. There's so many different niches that people are just doing incredibly well and you wouldn't even expect. Like the Bible one was one that like really shocked me. One woman from our course I think she has like 43,000 sales now. And she just specifically sells Bible themed things. And it's amazing to see. I'm like, wow, like she really took this thing to the next level. And that's not a niche I was particularly looking at or would have thought that it would blow up and be so lucrative, but she's doing really, really well in there. So yeah, I wish I had like the perfect answer for you, Lizzie, but it's honestly like, it's the people who find the side pockets in a main niche that are doing really, really well.
Yes, it's the micro niches. No, I actually think that was the perfect answer. So don't apologize. Tell me some success stories, some students you're really proud of right now. They're just really shining. They're seeing their breakout happen.
I was trying to pull the screenshot up while you were talking and I'm like, oh, I don't want to be rude and be on my phone, but I just wanted to get the timeline right because I don't want to misinform the listeners here, but okay, I found it. So there was this guy, Jake, and Jake just started blowing up. It was like the end of last year, I think. I think it was right around Christmas time. I just like sharing this story because you can go from 0 to 100 so fast, or in this case, 0 to 1,000. So he had a couple breakout products for Christmas that started like going gangbusters in the beginning of December. And I remember him posting, he's like, oh my gosh, I just made it to 500 sales. I just started the course a month ago. I'm like, dude, this is some of the fastest growth I've ever seen. I'm like, if you make it to 1,000 by the end of the year, that would be astronomical. 6 days later, he responds to my post with a screenshot. He had 1,000 sales. So he had 500 sales in 6 days. So yeah, in 6 days. I love sharing that because this guy went from someone who had never sold on Etsy before. He had randomly heard me on a podcast, funny enough, and he started selling. He joined our community, and within 2 months, he had 1,000 sales, and he has thousands more now, which is just so cool to see. So that's one really awesome example.
For it. That's so cool. Any others that you want to think of while I finish my thought on that? But like, and I guess I'm wondering if he's wanting to be full time or if he was just trying to side hustle it.
Yeah, I think it's like an engineering job or something like that. This is
my gosh,
dude, this is just vacation money for him. he's killing it. I want to read off some of the features because we had a couple students featured in the press, which was amazing. That we were able to like hook them up with some reporters because we had reporters asking us like, do you have anyone other than you guys? Like, we love hearing from you guys, but I'm sure you have some students who are doing well. We're like, actually, we have some students who are doing better than us, so you can interview them. So here's one from this year, actually. This is Rachel who got featured. It says the title is a 36-year-old mom who left her day job, made over $77,000 in 2023 selling digital products on Etsy. Shares her top 5 tips for getting started without spending any money. That was really cool. Chelsea, who recently joined our team, says a former teacher and stay-at-home mom has sold over $30,000 in digital printables as a side hustle since 2022. We've had so many on here.
The press is pretty cool. Like when they're asking for your student stories, that's pretty cool.
It's awesome. And being able to highlight them and again, change people's lives, like makes it all worth the while. Like all the updates, all the, as an entrepreneur, as a course creator, as someone who's doing all these things, like sometimes you have sleepless nights, things go wrong. It sucks. You're like, I should just give up. But seeing this is what makes it all worth it. I'll share one more. This is from Claudine. Please. A telecommunications rep who sold $25,000 in digital products explains how she got started and grew her storefront. So yeah, those were 4 news articles, which is cool. And I mean, I have a zillion. I'm looking at I have a wins folder on my phone that I just like to look at sometimes because it's like it feels so good. I have like 500 screenshots in here.
That's
And
so
a lot of
smart. I have like a smile folder. I need to add those to it. That would be so
I like
smart.
Smile too. But yeah, any student wins, any emails you get of people that are like, you've changed my life. It's yeah,
Oh,
I always drop them in here because it just yeah, it feels so great.
calling all my print on demand Etsy sellers. The game is totally changed for you guys, and I want to make sure that you have heard about it. One of the fastest ways that you can get more sales and scale your business is by adding custom product listings to your shop. This is where you sell something that incorporates like someone's name or special date or other personalization, and it just makes it extra special for and personal for the recipient. So it's literally like the ultimate Etsy game because shoppers will eat this stuff up left and right. It's a great way to differentiate yourself from the competition, especially if you're new, you're trying to stand out, or you're trying to scale. So I know you've probably actually been resisting this because print on demand often doesn't offer quite enough profit margin to justify the extra time spent in Canva customizing individual order designs. It's such a headache. I completely shied away from it myself. But now there is an app that you can integrate into your Etsy shop and into your Printify account, and it will freaking do the customization for you. I'm literally jittery excited about how awesome this is. I know it sounds like pie in the sky impossible, and I don't even totally understand all the AI and the tech, but I'm totally serious about what it'll do for you. It's called Hello Custom. And it uses AI to do what we ourselves used to do right there within Canva. So the customer puts their customization text right there in the personalization field at checkout. It's like a normal thing that you can add into your listing. And then Hello Custom will take that field and it modifies your text on your design to match the personalization. And then they just send you a note to double check and approve it so it doesn't go to the print without you making sure it's done right. And bada boom, guys, it's that crazy. It's so game changing. So I cannot recommend this enough. It's also an insane deal, which I love to see. They're giving my listeners right now a special link for Hello Custom, and you can get lifetime access for a flat $67. So run, don't walk. This is a temporary thing. It's usually a monthly charge that you'd pay forever, and it may not stay this way. So $67 to have it forever is bonkers. And I'm going to put that special link down in the show notes in the sponsored section at the very bottom. And I can't wait to hear your stories and your success with custom print on demand products. It's great having, the financial freedom and the time control, but there's nothing like when the work you do impacts someone else's life in a big way. There's nothing like it.
No, it's the best feeling in the world. So yeah, this is
So,
why I have this folder on my phone.
No, I know we need to do that every single time I talk to you. So actually, when this episode airs, ePrintables opens, I think, twice a year, right? You open enrollment.
Yep, we have two
just like
big
wide
public
open?
launches every year. Yep, and then we do like a full course revamp. We're always doing like exciting challenges during those months. So it's like a big production, which is why it's one of those seasons where I'm kind of stressed out right now. But it's going to be good. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, you're really coming into it. God love you. So that your next opening is next week. Like when this airs, it'll be the next week that your doors are opening for that. So tell people about ePrintables, a little more about it, what they can expect, and I'll make sure and link to it here in the episode as well.
Sure. Yeah. So ePrintables, as I mentioned before, it's the A to Z of selling digital products on Etsy and other places as well. We actually have like a bonus vault with how to sell on Shopify and how to sell on your own website and things if you want to expand beyond. But the main focus is Etsy because, as I've explained earlier, I think Etsy is the best platform for a beginner who doesn't have a following. So yeah, we teach you ideation, creation, listing your products on Etsy, marketing, once things start working, how to multiply that success. And we've taken thousands of students through there. We have a lot of awesome student success stories. We also have a VIP Facebook group and community. We actually have we just hired someone else on who you recently had on the podcast, Emily. We now have 7 group experts in our Facebook group. So we have 24/7 coverage now. Like at any hour of the day, you can drop a question in there and someone's going to get back to you within a couple of hours, which is great. And it's just seeing our coaches help students is amazing too, because a lot of the coaches that we've now hired on are ex-students who have crushed it. So it's just giving back. It's like, they started 2 years ago. Now they have 20,000 sales on Etsy, and now they're teaching someone who was in their shoes a couple years ago. So yeah, we have the course itself. We have the whole community. Tons of support, tons of love in there. Like everyone's super positive. A lot of the screenshots I get actually is from the Saturday win thread. So every single Saturday we'll have like post your win from this week, and people will just post like these amazing things. Like I just made my 10,000th sale, or I just hit $5,000 in revenue this month. Like there's some big wins. And then there's other people who might have just got started just made my first sale. I can't believe this is real. Like, this side hustle is awesome. What else? What else do we have? We do a bunch of challenges. So usually 4 months out of the year, we'll do like a challenge month. Like, we're doing one in October where we'll give you templates, and we'll actually have people from our team, and Julie and myself included, we'll give you the template. Then we'll kind of go through and ideate live with you. Like, we'll show you how we're thinking about, okay, these are the keywords that we could turn this product into. And we'll go through live on Canva and actually design the product with you. So at the end of this session where you're designing live with us, like, you'll have a ready to go product. We show you how to create the listing images. We show you how to differentiate your products, because the last thing we want is 100 plus people making the same exact product and listing on Etsy, because then nobody's going to be successful. We do a lot of prize giveaways. Like, we give away tons of gift cards and fun things to just keep things interesting in the group. We have this like spinner wheel where we'll do contests, and you get your name on the wheel. You could win like a $50 or $100 gift card. What else do we do? We do a lot of stuff, Lizzie. We're busy people. We give away we give away templates every month. So we have actually a template team who creates templates for our community, and we give away usually 5 templates every single month that are curated for the month. So oftentimes they might like fall in line with the season that's happening, or like a trend that's coming up. And so as a member of the VIP, you'll basically get those 5 templates free every month. And basically what a template is, it's like, if you're familiar with Canva, you just click our thing. It'll be like, use this design or use this template in a new design. You click on it, then you just tweak it. It might take you 15 or 20 minutes. You create a slightly different product, and you can go and list a new product on Etsy. So we just like try to make it as easy as possible for people to create new products, add new products to their shop, because whether it's writing a paper or creating a design, the blank white screen is the most terrifying thing ever. So if we can have you jump past that point where you're already working with a base template to design something, it makes the time to success so much faster.
I don't think I've gotten that. I think that's more robust than the last time you gave me a rundown, Cody, because you're checking every box. Like, introverts who want to work alone and be left alone, check. They can go through the course. People who really need accountability because they won't keep up with themselves. So there's check. People who want community because they're really social and they feel isolated without it, check. People who need some one-on-one help and they can get into your group calls and see these things live, check. Like, way to go. Templates. People want templates because they don't want to start. Check. I'm overwhelmed in the best way.
This has been a long time coming. This is a very different than the 2019 version of ePrintables that I talked about when we first launched. This is 5 years in the making.
Well, I know it's very impressive, very robust. My jaw's a little bit on the floor on that list. Tell us where people can find you and connect. Like, are you guys on the socials? Where are you at?
Yeah, so everywhere on social is at Gold City Ventures. I'm actually doing this Etsy experiment on my personal Instagram. It's at Cody D Berman, and I have TikTok and YouTube Shorts as well. That's where you can follow along with this $1,000 per month shop. And by the time this airs, I'll probably be like in the middle of month 2. So yeah, follow along there and see how I'm doing. Hopefully I can hit the $1,000 per month before the end of month 3. I'm hoping to do it in under 90 days. I think that'd be a cool story. And then I'm sure you'll link below for the course, because people who sign up through your link will get something special. We haven't decided exactly what yet. We're working through that this week, but I'm gonna have them click and use your special link, Lizzie. So.
Well, thank you. Okay, awesome. Well, I'll keep you guys posted on that on Instagram, and I'll also share some of your story on Instagram, Cody. I didn't know this was happening. I'm super geeking out about it with you. Well, as always, this has been a joy and a high energy treat. Like, I feel like I could go jogging now. I'm like ready to go. So thank you so much for your time during such a busy stretch for you. But it's always so fun, always so informative. And I know people are going to walk away from this just excited to do digital products.
Well, I can always make time for a podcast with Lizzie. So thank you. This is always a blast. And I love coming on, and hopefully people are getting value out of these episodes. And I do bring the energy. I'm always like, whoo, I have to take a breath after I'm done with these. I might go for a walk after this. Who knows? But all I can hope is that I impact a couple people out there and start their digital product journey. So thank you for having me on.
Thank you, Cody. All right, y'all. Thanks for hanging out with us. I hope you are fired up. Have an awesome day, a great week. And until next time, go make something awesome. I love you guys. And that's a wrap on this episode of How to Sell Your Stuff on Etsy. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you're looking for more resources, head on over to howtosellyourstuff.com, where you'll find podcast show notes, all the links from today's episode, the blog, courses, coaching, and more. If this episode was helpful to you, awesome. The greatest compliment I can receive from you is a rate, review, and subscribe on this podcast. Not only will it allow us to connect again on a future episode, it lets me know I'm providing you with value. and helps other people find this content more easily. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for your support. Have a great day and see you next time.